Okay, I'll be starting. And Dr. Daradi?
Okay.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. A very good afternoon to all participants and also our distinguished guest speaker for today. Welcome. Welcome to today's workshop on time management in PhD. Before we begin, on behalf of the organizer, I would like to remind all participants to make sure your mics are muted, especially when the speaker is presenting. This webinar is organized by the Office of International Affairs, OIA, Division of Academic Affairs, UiTM Cawangan Melaka, co-organized with Center of Islamic Philanthropy and Social Finances, CIPSF, UiTM Cawangan Melaka, collaboration with our international strategic partner, Universitas Negeri, Semarang, Indonesia. This is our seventh workshop for this second free webinar series. We have been and will be having a series of workshops all under the Masters and PhDs related topics throughout these 3 months, from July to September 2021. We will be having different speakers for different research topics from different research areas and from different research backgrounds, and all are related toward a progressive master's and PhD's journey. Alhamdulillah, we had followers from not only UiTM Cawangan Melaka, but from different campuses of UiTM from all over Malaysia. Not forgetting our partner university, Universitas Negeri Semarang, Indonesia. We also have postgraduate participants from other universities like UUM, UPM, UKM, UPSI, UMP, and USIM, just to mention few. Thank you for following us. We hope that we can work this together as a group to achieve our dreams to become intellectual with high qualification and excellent in academics. Welcome to today's workshop on time management in PhD. We would like to thank everyone for participating in this free international webinar and to the speakers for making time out of his schedule to give this workshop. Honorable Associate Professor Dr. Mohamed Saladin Abdul Rasool, distinguished guests, lecturers, and all participants. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening. Since we are still in the middle of pandemic outbreak, I hope everyone are safe and healthy. Before we begin, I have a few housekeeping notes. Today's session is being recorded to be available after viewing post-conference. If you have any question, please use the chat features in the WebEx webinar for the speakers to answer after this session. I will then read the question for the presenters to answer. We will be provide attendance and feedback link later today and hope that everyone can fill them out to get the e-certificate of participants, and training hours will be given to all UiTM participants. There will be a photo session with the speaker at the end of the session. We really hope that everyone can be ready and turn on the camera for the photo session later. Your kind attention in this matter is highly appreciated. Now, allow me to introduce the speaker for today. Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Saladin Abdul Rasool is an Associate Professor at the Faculty of Business and Administration, Universiti Teknologi Mara UiTM Melaka. At present, he serves as the Director of Islamic Philanthropy and Social Finances, UiTM Melaka. He obtained his PhD in Business Management from Universiti Teknologi Mara on 2016. His research areas include the Islamic social finance, zakat and wakaf, poverty and well-being of the society. Without further ado, please welcome Professor Dr. Saladin to deliver the presentation. The floor is yours, Doctor.
Okay. Thank you, Bella. Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon to everybody. And I would like to thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to share some of my thoughts with everybody today with a very simple topic which is quite a norm for PhD students. But today I will be giving some insights, maybe from some different perspectives, so that it will be a guideline so that students or candidates of PhD they will try their best for them to graduate on time. Okay, so I have about 20 slides, and I will try to talk less than 1 hour. I will try to stop within 1 hour, and then let's discuss if any issues arises. And then I think this is more uh, like sharing. I'm not a scholar. I'm just uh, an ordinary lecturer, just like everybody. Only thing I would like to share a little bit of my thoughts, because I would give some insights to my students. Okay, I have some PhD students, and also to everybody in this platform today. And then I hope with this little insights, this would be able to enhance the ability of students to graduate on time. Okay, so this topic is what I requested from the organizers, which I thought is quite important, and also quite critical to students who are really wanting to graduate on time. Yeah? Some students or some candidates, they really want to finish everything within the stipulated time given to them, maybe 2.5 years or 3 years. Maybe some students, they do not mind to go beyond that. Yeah? But in my talk today, I will try to give some insights and some thoughts so that we will try to graduate within 3 or 4 years as given to us. And that is a normal situation where people agree that a PhD is normally between 3 to 4 years, and maybe some people, they would be able to graduate less than that, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years, or almost 3 years, and some maybe they will take more than that, 4 years, 5 years, or 6 years. But whatever it is, today I would like to share how to manage our time so that we would be able to get the best from our PhD. Okay, so as an introduction, okay, the ultimate goal of a PhD journey is to graduate on time. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, everybody wants to graduate between the stipulated time given to us or what we plan. Then graduate on time is one of the main challenge in the PhD journey, and some people were able to obtain it. Some people, they go beyond that, and to graduate on time, appropriate planning is needed. Okay, we need to plan so that we are able to graduate on time. Just like any other things that we do, we have to plan. Okay, then appropriate planning, however, is insufficient without proper time management. So planning is very much related to time management, and time management must be accompanied with commitment and discipline. So this is very basic and simple. I think that everybody understands. Okay, so this is the normal roadmap. It's a typical PhD journey. So we have normally 6 semesters. So that means we are assuming that we are going to graduate in 3 years or 3.5 years. Normally, we take the first semester to identify the problem and to start to read and to do the literature review. And then in the second semester, we are expected to defend our proposal. And in many cases, people take until the third semester to defend their proposal. But however, a good way to graduate on time is to uh, defend by the second semester. However, I have one experience when I was asked to become a proposal panel, and the student did propose in the first semester. At the end of the first semester, her supervisor thought that she would be able to defend by that semester, and she was allowed to defend in the late of the first semester, and she defended successfully. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, uh, if we plan accordingly, we might even be able to defend our proposal in the first semester. But of course, we have to make the appropriate preparation. Now, of course, we have to work very hard from the beginning. Or maybe before we start, we already have a proper planning. So, in a normal case, the first semester would be identifying our problems, okay, what the issue. Then the second semester would be trying to uh, propose, try to defend our proposal, and then if we do it a bit earlier, we will be able to develop our instrument. Normally, would be in the form of questionnaire, and then third semester we will be able to collect our data, okay, and then of course after that we will analyze our data. But if we look carefully, okay, so in the second semester and third semester, so actually the time is too short, okay, to collect data in one semester with pilot study together. I think we'll be taking quite an effort, okay, but it is not impossible, okay, it is very possible, but of course preparations have to be done. Then inshallah I will be sharing some of the insights that I have, so that we can uh, share together, and then maybe some of us can pick up from that. And then key in data analysis in semester 4 is also quite quite tough to finish everything in one semester, and then to start to write in the fifth semester for the first draft, and then of course to submit in the sixth semester. So from this slide, it seems to be quite easy, but of course, to able to do this, we need to work hard, and again, we need to plan from the beginning, so that we will able to finish in time. Even if we follow this, uh, if we look at this illustration, we are only able to submit the thesis on the sixth semester. Okay, and maybe we have to need another 6 more months to uh, defend our thesis, and then to make some correction, and of course, and then only we be able to graduate. So it will take more than 3 years. But as I mentioned to you, there are some candidates they will be able to do on time or less than 3 years, but of course they need to work hard, and they need to work hard. Okay, so this is a rough indicator of what we need to plan in our PhD. Okay, okay. To mention that if we want to graduate on time, as we seen we have seen the slide just now, to graduate in 6 semesters, okay, which I think is quite something normal to do. So we have to have some strategies. Okay, so we need to prepare early. When we mention the word early preparation, maybe we need to work hard even before we start to register our PhD. And that means a month before starting to register, we need to do our work, at least to get some reading, okay? And then, of course, we need to have mentally tune up. Yeah? We need to mentally be prepared on the possibility of doing PhD in 3 years, 4 years. And then, of course, we need the right footing. That means we know where we are going to do, in which university we are going to do. Of course, we already communicate with the proposed uh, supervisor. We have done our homework, knowing our supervisors, know their strength, and know how is their normal way they conduct their supervision. Okay, these are quite essential for us in the beginning, so that we don't have any problems later, which could prolong our PhD. So to get the right supervisor, we need to do some homework. Some supervisors are good, but maybe they are not suitable to us. Yeah? Some supervisors, they are very close to the student, and they have very close supervision. So they like to have a very close supervision. Maybe they would say, I want to see you every week. Okay, so if we are not comfortable with this kind of supervisors, maybe better avoid them. Maybe some candidates, they are quite independent. They do not like this. So better to find the supervisor which are suitable to us. And also there are some supervisors who say that you do your work, we meet when we need to, maybe once a month. Okay, so of course we need to do all the preliminary work too. to know our supervisors. Okay, and then we need also to know what we're going to do. Actually, what are we going to research on? In simple words, we have to have the right footing before we start our PhD. And then, of course, when we start our PhD from day one, we need to work consistently. Uh, Working consistently meaning that we work hard, but we work in a very strategic manner. So continuously we work, and this is quite difficult, as we know that in any work that we do, it's not easy to have consistency. Sometimes we are tired, sometimes we have some problems, sometimes we have things that we do not expect. So all these would uh, uh, become an obstacle to us. So of course, consistency is very, very important in a PhD. Okay, I have a friends. I know that they have their own strategies to make sure that they're consistent. For example, I have a friend who I know. He and his wife they did their PhD together, and what they do is every night. Yep. Okay, every night between 9 to 11, they would be in their room, in their study room, and they would tell to their children, "This is uh, a mama and Abba's time to do our work. So please don't disturb." So every night they sit there consistently 2 hours every night to do their work. So every night without fail. Okay, and I also have another friend who did his PhD in Kuala Lumpur, in Simlaya. He stays in Melaka. He took the trouble to stay in Kuala Lumpur. He made some arrangement, okay, and then he told his family that he will be staying in Kuala Lumpur, and then he will be staying there from Monday to Friday. And he told me that every day, 8:30 a.m. sharp, he's in front of the library. So he goes to the library 8:30, and then he comes out from the library at 5 o'clock every day, Monday to Friday. Except for Friday, he goes out early because he's going back to his family. So he goes back to Melaka Friday evening. So from Monday to uh, Friday, he work hard in the library, and then he work on consistently every day, and then in the weekend he have his break. So he told me that in the weekend I spend my time with my family. So he was able to do this constantly, and he did try to submit his PhD in 2.5 years. He finished everything in 2.5 years, but the faculty did not want to accept his submission because they want him to finish in 3 years. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is consistency is a very important uh, uh, thing to have when we do our PhD. And this is very, very difficult because we have a lot of things as a human being. Then it is not easy for us to keep on having our momentum all the time. And then, of course, the flexibility in our direction of a thesis. That means sometimes we plan to do A, and then as we go on, we find that the A is not suitable in our PhD. So after talking to our supervisors, talking to our colleagues, talking to different people, most of them think yes, we need to have a change in our direction. So we need to change. So what we want to do? So of course, maybe if it's not suitable, we need to change our direction. And the most important part in trying to graduate on time is avoid procrastinating. Tangguh-tangguh, in bahasa Melayu, tangguh-tangguh. So that means don't ever try to waste time. Any problem, we act fast. From problem solving is very essential. If we have anything, do not wait and delay. Straight away talk to our supervisors or talk to those people who can help us. Maybe our colleagues who are doing PhD with us together, or any person that we think can solve our problem. So this is very important, not to procrastinate. So I have gone through this process. Okay, so when I submitted my first draft in the faculty, and then during my time in the faculty, they had something called mock Viva. So when I had my mock Viva, that means the preliminary Viva, the panel thought my PhD, my thesis is not deep enough. The depth is questionable, but they do not tell me what was lacking. So I got upset, and I did not. I thought that I did a very good job, but when they said that it's not enough and they did not give me solution, so I took about few months, 2 months. In BM we say mengajuk, mengajuk, eh. So we try to try to feel disheartened, but actually it would waste our time. Okay, so we should not try to be disheartened or anything. When we have any problem, we should always try to act fast and try to always tell ourselves we need to overcome our problem. And then, of course, finally, efficient time management is very, very essential. So, time management is very important in every part of our life, but it's very, very important, especially in our PhD. Okay, so we need to try to act so that all these points that are being pointed here can be practiced in our PhD journey. Okay, just briefly, when we talk about time management, we should have a plan, a rough plan of what we plan to do in our 3 years, and then we try to be disciplined and feel that plan is important, and we should adhere to the planning. What we need to do, we should follow the plan, and if there's any disturbance, we should be prepared to replan. And of course, we need to be multitasking. Then we should be able to do more than one thing at a particular time. So we need to adjust so that if we are trying to do our survey, but at the same time we need to do something else. We need to do that also. So we also have to tell ourselves we need to be mobile. So that means we need to be flexible, and we need to work in many ways in our PhD. Okay. Uh, Briefly, when we talk about time management, it can be in various ways. So this is one way. We manage our time daily. Okay. So we have 24 hours, and then we also manage our time weekly, and then monthly and per semester. Okay. Uh, we need to follow our schedule as much as we can, even on daily basis. For example, for this week, for 5 days, Monday to Friday, we plan to do something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we make sure that on the first day, we achieve what we are able to do. What we're supposed to do, we try our best to achieve it. And if we do not achieve it fully, try to cover it on the second day. And if we could control our time management in such a way so that we follow as much as we can, of course, our daily, our weekly, and of course our monthly and per semester, we will able to achieve whatever we plan. So the problem is sometimes we have our planning, but we do not follow our plan. So we don't respect our plan. Okay, so planning is very important. For example, if we say that for today from 8 morning to 4 p.m. I would read 5 articles. So we make sure that we try to read 5 articles. Okay, and then we try as much as possible to read it, and of course, and also try to write something of what we have read. So if we fail to do that, and then we try to add some more time, maybe tonight, we take some extra hours, 1 or 2 hours to finish our planning, so that tomorrow we can start on what we plan to do tomorrow. In such a way, okay, I think we were able to follow whatever we plan, and we were able to achieve all the planning as much as we can. Okay, so this is a basic explanation on the time management. But of course, we need to plan weekly and then monthly. So for this month, basically what we want to do. Next month, what we want to do. Okay, and then we should plan, and all this planning should be discussed together with our supervisors, so that we know what we are heading to and which direction we are moving to. Okay, and of course, that is what we plan to do. But of course, these are some challenges. There are some challenges in our time management. Of course, challenges come from all directions. For example, we have family issues. Okay, so of course, family issues or domestic issues should be discussed early in our PhD journey before registering. Before we start to register, we need to talk to our spouse. We talk to our family members so that they would understand and give us the full support. Okay, I remember I had a friend, a lady teaching in a private university. Uh, she did discuss briefly with her husband before she started a PhD. And then when she started to do a PhD, she did not realize that something happened without she noticed. Slowly and slowly, the the maid, pembantu rumah, was feeling the pressure because before she went for a PhD, she would share some work with a maid. When she come back from work in the night, she helped the maid. But now when she started to do a PhD, she was too tired, and then in the night also she have to do a PhD work. So the maid did feel the pressure, and finally the maid ran away. She absconded and ran away, and then the husband was feeling upset, and then things became worse, and then the family uh, administration were not right, and then the husband uh, told the wife to stop her PhD. Okay, so what I'm trying to say, domestic and family issues should be addressed very early, especially involving the spouse and other members of the family. And of course, we need to prioritize. So when we start our PhD, we need to focus on our PhD. That means other things in our life are also important, but we try to give the most important priority to our PhD. So we need to do A, we need to do B, we need to do C, but of course we can delay them because the main target is to finish our PhD on time. And then the deadlines. Okay, the deadlines are also important. So we need to be careful on the deadlines so that we don't forget the deadlines. So maybe we need to submit that, we need to submit this, but we must always have our diary so that we know what we're supposed to do and we can do and deliver them accordingly. And this is a very simple explanation on how to manage our time. So that means we need to adjust our daily life, our personal timetable, and then we should be very disciplined with our schedule, and then we always need to have uh, those people doing PhD together so that they also will be able to give us some help, and when we need to share things, we need to share knowledge so that we have somebody, some of our friends to share, okay, because we know that many things that we do not know. So we need our colleagues so that they will be able to share. And then of course we need also to have our mentor, our supervisor, uh, so that we work with them very closely. Okay, so we need to work with them, and then we always discuss with them whatever we want to do. And we know that uh, this is also important because knowing this weather, as I mentioned just now, is very important. Okay, we also know that we have some friends when they went for the PhD, uh, everything was smooth in the beginning, and then the PhD had some problem. Okay, maybe the supervisor had some problem. Some supervisors they have health problem, and I know a friend that he has a supervisor that uh, had cancer, so she had to rest for 1 year. So of course that have a very much influence on the PhD. So he had to wait for the supervisor right, for 1 year, and we know that some supervisors, some of the problems, they stop, they retired without giving early warning, and then the faculty make a decision to change the supervisor, and of course, the new supervisor wants something else. So all these are important for us to manage so that we can able to uh, have a very smooth sailing journey. And then to optimize our time, we need to work continuously and, as mentioned just now, consistently. And then we prioritize our PhD work more than others, and consistent communication with our supervisor. And now we know that it's not possible to have face-to-face communication with our supervisors. So it's good for us to talk to supervisor using any platform, so that we will be able to talk and share the work that we have been doing. And of course, we keep in touch with our colleagues, and always get help from them. And then we always need to take breaks when we need to when we are tired, we need to take breaks. As I mentioned to you, maybe some of our friends, they plan that they work Monday to Friday, and then the weekend they have breaks. They go there, they go here, they go for picnic, so that they have enough energy during the weekdays. And of course, one more issue is to read a lot with the journal. So we must fall in love with our journal. So we need to read and read and read to have very strong. Uh, we want to have a strong problem statement. We need to have a very strong literature review. So all this will come with reading, and also, of course, it will come with our knowledge from readings. Okay. Next, working smart with the supervisor. Yeah. So we need to know how to get the maximum from the supervisor. And as I mentioned to you, there are many kind of supervisors. They have different style, they have different ways. But of course, try our best to get the best from them. Okay, especially supervisors who are very famous, supervisors who are very good. So they have a lot of work. They always have to go here and there. They need to present papers. They need to sit in the meetings. They need to have that that decision, this decision. So these people are busy. So we need to be able to find ways to communicate with them. I know a friend. He he was doing his PhD in UKM, Bangi, and then the supervisor was so busy. So the only way for him to discuss with the supervisor every week was to accompany his supervisor on the LRT. So from Bangi to Colombo takes about 45 minutes. So he will be, so he go to Bangi with to the LRT, and then he will follow the supervisor to Colombo, and then they will talk and talk, and he will jot down on his notebook until Colombo. When supervisors go down, he comes back to Bangi. Okay, and also I know that another friend who was doing his PhD, and his supervisor is so famous that he goes to overseas every week. Almost every week he is going to different countries. So the only way to meet his supervisor is to meet in the airport before the supervisor embark on the flight. So he would go and sit with the supervisor and have a coffee, and then they will discuss the thesis. So these are different ways to handle our supervisor. So of course, we need to get the most from our supervisors. And since we have two supervisors, most of us we have two supervisors, so we need to get from each of them. Okay, so we need to differentiate what we are going to do with the first, and then what we're going to do with the second supervisor, so that we were able to get the maximum from them. And of course, we also need to know all the regulations and procedures that changes from time to time, which is being established by the faculty. And one more good thing to do during our PhD, so that we were able to graduate on time, so that we don't have any much problem during our proposal defense, is to share as much as we can with our colleagues. Whatever that we have, we share, so that we can get comment from others. And also, we should try our best to talk to people, talk to other scholars, other lecturers, to our friends, so that we can get insights and new ideas. And of course, one more thing is the title of the thesis. The title would change a lot from the beginning until the end. So we do not need to change on. We do not need to focus on the title from the beginning, but we need to know what are we going to do. So we need to have the forecast. We have to know what is our scope of our thesis. So As long we know the scope is fine, because the title will be changing until the last day. Recently, I was called to become an examiner in Uni KL. Yeah? Uh, the student did a very good job, but we thought that the title was not so suitable. The title did not reflect the the work 100%. So during the Waiwa, we spent a lot of time on the title, and the chairman said that we should decide on the title today. So, of course, I mentioned to you, so do not worry so much on the title, because the title would change until the last day of our PhD. So, of course, we should have a decent title, but of course, the title sometimes would change from time to time. Okay, and then of course, to make sure that our thesis move smoothly, we need to know very clearly what are the objectives of the thesis, and then we plan the thesis accordingly. Okay, so far any issues to be raised? If there's any, please stop me. So otherwise, I will be moving. So I want to stop before 4 o'clock, if it's possible. Okay, I have another about 8 or 9 slides. Okay, and of course, we need to have one thing which is important is our reading. We need to read a lot. It's good to read before even we start our PhD, so that we know clearly what we want to do. And of course, when we read, we should able to get a very clear picture of our problem statement, and we should know what is the gap. Okay, and then this would help us to have a very good objective. Without reading extensively and doing a very good literature review, we wouldn't be able to come up with a very strong problem statement. And in my experience, in a little experience of me becoming an examiner, doing proposal defense, or also doing the Viva, is always we have problem in the problem statement. Most of the time, examiners are always focusing on problem statement because the problem statement is not strong enough. So a problem statement is not written with with strong writing to show that what is actually the problem of the issue of the thesis. Okay, and then of course when the issue is not very clear, and of course there will be glaring weaknesses in the gap of the study. And of course, once the problem statement is good, then we should come up with a very good objective, which is the specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So if we can have a very good statement, problem, and also with our good objective, then I think we have a very strong case for our PhD to move smoothly. Okay, and then issues to address. Our issues, as I mentioned to you just now, issues should be very clearly identified, and then we need to plan the direction of study. What we actually want to do. We cannot solve a lot of things of the issues. We try to take 1 or 2 issues, and we should be clear. Otherwise, we will be having problem later part in our study. Okay, so I mentioned here, the study may seem to be simple in the beginning, but since we do not do a very good job in the beginning, so we would have complicated issues in the later part of our thesis. And then, of course, to strategize, to complete in time, we should follow our plan of study from the beginning. And of course, a very good way is to write from day one. Read and write, read and write. And I always tell my students, every day try to write 1 page. If you can do that, that means you have a very strong case to finish on time. Okay, write. And if you have nothing to write, just write. Whatever you think, even if it's a plagiarism, just copying what you have read, but later you need to change. But at least write something. Okay, so I've written here, writing rubbish is better from not writing. It's only applicable here for PhD. Okay, so we need to write from day one and every day and consistently. And then to stay strong during a PhD, so that we are able to be become consistent, is to be strong in our spiritual. We should be strong in our health. You should always be able to be healthy, make sure that we have enough rest, we should have enough sleep, we should have enough food, we should try to eat regularly, and of course, we should have some rest and have some exercises so that we are strong, healthy, and we are able to do things nicely. And then also important is to choose our topic. Yeah, should be interesting, and then a very current issue, and of course the topic should be based on literature. And of course, to get all this, we can attend conferences, seminars, discussions, and of course from many other platforms. And also to finish on time, okay, to plan ourselves, we should always write a very strong proposal, and then the chapter one is so critical, so we make sure that issues in the chapter one are really explained very well, from the introduction to the problem statement, objective, scope of study are very important, so that we know what we are going to do and what is the direction of our study. And then, of course, today we have a systematic literature review, which is also essential so that we are able to save time in our literature. And then we make sure that we read and understand our methodology. And then, of course, using appropriate framework. So, some people think a framework should be complicated. The more complicated is better. Okay, but if we want to have a complicated framework, it's good so that to show that we have done a very good job. But of course, we must really understand the complicated framework thoroughly. Otherwise, we should not have a very complicated framework. So we should have a very moderate framework. But of course, the framework cannot be too easy, too simple. So it should be rigorous, a little bit rigorous. And then challenges, now we have this pandemic with us today, which is of course we never expected this. So this could be an extra burden for parents who are doing their PhD. So children at home, sometimes the husband also are working from home. So the wife have to change the pattern of the timetable at home. So to need to make some adjustment. Okay, and then more time to be given to the children. And of course, now as lecturers, we also need to change our style of teaching. We are teaching online, open and distant learning. So we need sometimes to do a lot of work. But however, we should need to adjust so that ODL is not a burden to us. We should try to our best to make sure that ODL is being done in a way that it doesn't really make our life miserable. Try to get advice from the experienced ones so that our teaching, although in a different direction, but it's not a burden to us. And also, we need to make sure that we do not have anxiety and stress due to this MCO. We are unable to move here and there. We cannot meet our friends. We cannot meet our supervisor. I know my students. They tell me, doctor, if I don't see you, I feel so down. When I see you, I hear your voice. I'm so happy. I'm so excited to do my work. So I tell them that you need to adjust. You need to adjust to the MCO, because the MCO or the PKP, you cannot avoid, because that is also something which is synonym to all countries. And of course, our face-to-face discussion is also limited. So what I'm trying to say that we need to adjust during this pandemic so that our life do not become so difficult. So we need to make adjustment, and we should be able to find solutions. And then challenges in graduating on time. Of course, as I mentioned to you, personal obligations always become a problem. Sometimes our spouse gets sick, our parents get sick, and then sometimes we have our close people who are sick. Some of them pass away. So this will all disrupt us. And then sometimes we have the administrative issues, such like now, students, before they go for their data collection, they need to submit their ethics, research ethics. So this will take some time. So this all need to be addressed carefully. And also technical issues such as maintaining our data, to maintaining our files so that they don't get messed up, and of course, so these are small issues, but they can take our time. And of course, supervisors, we need to work very hard with them, and we need to get the best from them. But sometimes things would be out of control. In my case, my supervisor passed away. Uh, After completing my first draft, my first supervisor, he passed away out of heart attack suddenly. So that made some that made me upset, and also have some disruption on my PhD. But of course, we need to wake up and make some adjustments. So of course, all these things that we need to adjust in our PhD journey. Okay, this is my final slide, I think so. So to conclude my talk today, okay, I would like to inform all the audience, for those who are interested to do your PhD but who have not registered, please start your journey now. Time will not wait for us. Okay, and for those who have registered, congratulations, you have just started your journey. And those who have started, okay, and then they're doing the preparing the proposal, do it nicely. And those who have defended the proposal, congratulations. But of course, we need to work hard. So with that, I end my talk, and we can discuss further on any issues on what I've discussed just now. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
All right, thank you so much for the informative talk, Dr. Saladin. Now we have come to the Q&A session. Is there any question from the participant? Please use the chat features now to ask. Is there any question?
Or anything to share?
Okay, if there's no any question, thank you so much. Oh, okay, there's a question from Sharifah Nazura. Um, she asked, Doctor, how can we find a good research gap from our study?
Okay, thank you for the question. To find the research gap, as I mentioned to you just now, one way is to read as much as possible. So reading is very much important, because from our reading, from the literature, we will be able to uh, find out issues that have been worked in the past, and we are able to see what are the works that have been done, and how much the work have been done, and then what are the works that have not been done. Maybe sometimes the gap is so difficult to see, but if we uh, if we think, yeah, there's no gap, it's impossible. As we read and read, or we read all through the literature, of course we will find, and we will able to find some gap, either little or much. So to find the gap, we need to read a lot. I think that's very simple. We need to read, and of course sometimes the gap is not clearly seen, or the evidence is not there in our readings. So maybe we need to talk to people, to the authorities, people with authority, so that they will have some insight on how to explain on the gaps. So I hope they will be able to help.
Okay. The next question is from Nolita Zakaria. Some of the supervisor didn't like the student to depends much on them. But as student, we always need to have a proper guidance from supervisor. How to tackle this situation?
Okay. There are some supervisors, as I mentioned to you, they are very close to the student. Okay. In my case, I work so hard with my second supervisor. Sometimes I type with him together. I will read and he will type. Sometimes he will read and I will type. So I'm so close with the supervisor. But the first supervisor is not like that. The first supervisor, I will see him once in a while, and then he will just chat and chat. He will read whatever I've done. Then he will say, then it's okay, it's fine. So this is okay, this is okay, and what is not okay. So it depends on our supervisor. So if our supervisors are uh, not so much as helpful to us, we need to find ways how to get as much as possible. So if we are unable to get from our supervisor the support that we are supposed to get, then we need to work in a different way, try to get from other scholars. I think today there are many people who are willing to help, although they are not the supervisors, they are willing to help. Okay, and of course, and a very good source of help is our colleagues, especially those who are almost finishing their PhD, to be able to help us. So I think we should always try our best to get the best from supervisors. If we are not able to get from them, we try ways to find. I know a friend that his supervisors, his main supervisor was the uh, uh, deputy vice chancellor. So even to meet him, so difficult. Okay, so it was so difficult to get him to discuss. And then whenever he did his writing and he leave on the table, most likely he would not be able to read it. Okay, so and finally he was unable to overcome that, and he left his PhD. So we need to find ways how to go about. If the supervisor cannot help us, we need our best to get from some other sources. So it's not use. It doesn't help if we grumble, we make noise, or we have a argument with our supervisor. If he's unable to help us as he's supposed to, then we find ways to get help from other sources. Okay, so hope this will also help.
Okay, the next question is from Miss Mas Izzuan. Assalamualaikum, Doctor. How to start with the PhD title?
Okay, to start the PhD title, of course, it comes from our interest. Okay, first of all, we should have our interest. We need to know what do we are interested in, and of course, from that we move a bit from reading. We go and to read from newspapers, literature review, from journals, and of course, it takes time. And sometimes it will be easy to get the title. Sometimes it will take a long time. So the only solution is to know what I'm interested in. Sometimes we do not know what we're interested in. So we need to read, and if we do not also find what we want, so we try to get opinion from others, maybe from our friends, okay, from those who have finished their PhD, or from the faculty members who have experience in research. So we need to get their opinion. So of course, there are many ways to get the title. So of course, as I mentioned just now, the title is not so important. Maybe the title will change. I've seen many friends, they change their titles as they go along. So of course, we need to have a PhD title just for us to start. And of course, if we think later that the title is not suitable, then we can change. But we need to start with the title. And of course, to get a title, we need to have our interest, and the interest will come in many forms. So from reading, from discussing, and so on and so forth. Okay, Mas, hope it will help.
All right, the next question is from Miss Jean Akila. Doctor, may I know which time would you suggest for postgrads to focus on study writing? How many hours you spend in a day to study? Is it compulsory every day?
It depends. Okay, as I mentioned to you, I had a friend. He was doing his PhD part time. Uh, he did his work all in the night. So he was doing his PhD, of course, with his wife, so it also helped to get the mood of PhD. So they talk to the children and tell the children that after 9, please do not disturb us. So in 2 hours, they would sit down and they did their work in the study room for 2 hours every night. So of course it depends. Some people they need more than 2 hours, and some people they have some extra knowledge. They are able to explain things. So of course this would be able to help them a lot. So of course it depends on the strength that we have. Some of us we need to read a lot, so we need to spend a lot of time. Some of us we don't need to read a lot. We read maybe from 1 or 2 reading of an article we are able to write, and we also have some extra knowledge to write. So in bahasa Malaysia we call that ilmu gorengologi. We are able to goreng our writing. We are able to explain things. From one point we can write and write and write. Okay. So this ilmu gorengologi, I don't think so many people have. Okay, I know that a person, she did a PhD at the age of 50 something. Okay, and then she was doing part time. She was doing at the age of 50 something, and she was doing part time, and she graduated in 2.5 years. When asked, she said that my strength was my ilmu gorengologi. I am able to explain and explain on what I would want to explain. So from one point, I can write a page or 2 pages because he's an English lecturer. Okay, so of course it depends on our strength. So we maybe our writing strength is not so good, so we need to spend a lot of time. So I think there's no hard and fast rule how many hours to spend, but at least 2 hours or 3 hours is good. But if you can spend more than that, it's better. Okay.
Okay, moving on. The next question is from Miss Yasmin. Doctor, what is your tip or advice to face the proposal defense well?
Okay. For the proposal defense, okay, uh, as I mentioned just now, the main issue will be the chapter one. In your proposal, chapter one is the key, and this the is the heart to your proposal. So chapter one should be very clear. You should very crystal clear on your problem statement. The gaps are very well explained, and then the objectives are also, as I mentioned to now, we should have SMART, SMART, and that 5 things. So very good objective, and then the scope is also clear. So chapter one is very essential in our proposal. So when we are so clear in our proposal, our chapter one, so the examiner knows that we know what we are going to achieve. We are going to achieve. So chapter 2 and 3 are also important, but they are not as important as chapter 1. If your chapter 1 is not good, it would make the reader or the examiner quite upset on reading the next. So I think chapter 1 is to be given ample focus. Okay.
Okay. So the next question is from Ms. Zainab Mohammadin. Do you advise multidisciplinary doctor?
I think that is a strength today. Today, that is the trend. Most of the PhDs, they are multidiscipline. Okay, for example, we have language, also with philanthropy, and maybe we have depth with philanthropy. So I think today that is uh, a better way to do a PhD. So if we have a multidiscipline, of course we can cover a lot of things. So our thesis will be enriched with a lot of knowledge from different angles. So I think it is available to have a multidiscipline uh, uh, PhD, but of course we need to master all the disciplines as much as we can. So that so we were able to explain our thesis, our study with a good command. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult. So multidiscipline is important and very interesting, but of course, we need to explain and we need to know the stuff as much as we can. Okay, but it is also achievable if we have two different supervisors with different backgrounds so that they can help each other. Correct, Puan Zainab?
All right. So the next question is from Sharifa Azwa. Assalamualaikum, Doctor. What is your advice to us for keeping our momentum and motivation in finishing our PhD journey? Sometimes we come to a dead end or maybe just stumble into a boredom.
Okay, I think I already shared just now. So we try to find ways. So we try our best to make our PhD life is interesting. Okay, so if we come to a situation where we are already saturated, we are tired, we feel bored, we do not want to have look at our laptop, so we need to have a break. So having break is also important, and of course there are many ways to overcome all this. So one way is to have break, to go for short vacation, or to do something else. And also we need also to find friends, new friends who can give us insights. And in my PhD days, I went to a lot of conferences. Okay, so I think every semester I went to at least two or three conferences. Yeah, and some were overseas. Yeah? Some were overseas. Okay, so when we go to conferences, we are able to see people, we talk to them, and so on and so forth. And of course, now during the MCO, maybe we are unable to do that, but we can talk to people through through our uh, through our uh, platform that we have, WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. So we can find ways to talk to people, to move, and also to do things which are quite differently. So of course, we need to break our monotonous life, so that we do not do everything every day the same thing repeatedly. So sometimes it makes us tired. So we need to find ways. So we do different things. Okay, and then I think one way is also is for us to go and have a chat with our supervisors, and then also to talk to industry experts and find as much as possible. Okay, so and of course to be motivated, we need to go to conferences, talk, and so on and so forth, so that we are enlightened all the time. So if we are demotivated, then it's going to be difficult. So we need to find ways to motivate ourselves. Each of us, we know what we like and what we want to do, and what can motivate us. Okay, and then of course, for those in the faculty, they can always find faculty members, abang-abang, kakak-kakak that already have their PhD. You can talk to them. So don't be shy. So when you feel you have a problem, you need to get help. Don't be shy. So even if you are demotivated, find help. So that when you say that you're doing PhD, then nobody would stop from giving you advice. So of course, we need to find ways to get help from people, and help is everywhere. But we need to find the appropriate help from those people who are able to help us. Okay, hope that will be able to help.
All right. The next question is from L. PhD with grant from supervisor or without grant?
Okay, so if we have a grant, it's good for us. Okay, but we know that grant is not easy to obtain. So if we don't have grant, okay, so it will be difficult, but it's not impossible to, uh, to, to continue with our study. And then for grants, we always it's good for us to discuss with our supervisors. So if the supervisor can help to obtain the grant, it's also good. Or we also work. So we have two supervisors, and with ourselves we have 3 person who can try uh, to apply for 3 grants. So maybe if we have good luck, we can have 3 grants. This morning I was able to talk to a person. She had 3 grants. She got 3 grants. Okay, of course not from UiTM Melaka, but from a different UiTM. She got 3 grants. So because she said, I never expected to get 3 grants, so I thought I would only be able to get even one. It also not possible, so I sent 3. So with my colleague, so she applied for 3 and she got all the 3. So we need always to find ways to get the grant. So of course, the best way is to get the grant from ourselves. If we are lecturers, we try to apply. And if we are not able to apply because we are not lecturers, so maybe we need to get the help from our supervisors, or from any other people who are able to share their grant with us. Okay? Yeah. Anything? Any more?
Is there any other question from participant?
Or if any other insights or anybody want to share anything, we can always share.
Okay, if there's no any other question, thank you so much, Dr. Saladin, for answering. Finally, we have come to the end of this webinar. We would like to thank the presenter for the excellent presentation and to the audience for active participation. I hope this session is beneficial and can help everyone to understand more and have a better understanding of this topic. Before we come to the end of the workshop, I would like to invite everyone to turn on your camera for a quick photo session for today. Okay, any other people? It is so much appreciated if everyone opens the camera.
Okay, are we done?
Not yet, Doctor. Hold on. All right. 1, 2. Okay, smile everyone. 1, 2, 3. Okay, one more.
Okay.
Okay, is everyone ready? Can we have more people turning on your camera,
Yeah.
please? Okay, 1, 2, 2. Okay, is that all, or some of you are still ready? Last year?
Okay.
Okay, right. 1, 2, 3. Big smile. Okay, thank you everyone. We will
Right.
email the recording and also the camera. Sorry, the photos from the camera. Right. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you,
Right.
organizer.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank you
dear
all.
Thank
organizer,
you,
I
Dr.
would like to
Saladin.
ask all participants to fill in the attendance and feedback form via the link shared in the box. E-certificate will be provided via email and training hours will be registered for all UiTM staffs. I'm afraid that's all the time we have for today's workshop. Our next workshop will be announced very soon. Please wait for our poster. Once again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank all participants and our speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Mohamed Saladin Abdul Rasool, for being here today. That's all for now. Thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good day to all.
Okay, baik. Terima kasih Dr. Saladin. Terima kasih semua. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you,
Thank you,
doctor.
Doctor. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Secretariat. Bye.
Thank you, Doctor.